again, neighbors. How's everybody doing? It's been a little while since I made one of these videos. It is November 30th, 2021, and I am currently about 175 miles from Richmond, Virginia. I picked up in central Arkansas last night, and I'm going to drop me a load over here just outside of Richmond. About a little short 1,100 loaded miles. Weather's pretty nice right now over here in Virginia. 55 degrees. Can't beat that for almost December. Let's talk about vans. I know there's folks out there that are right now, right this minute, while you're watching this video, you are watching this because you are researching getting into expediting. And one of the questions that you may have is, what kind of van do I need? What's the best van? What kind of van do I have to have? What brand is the best? Well, if you are the type of person who researches things, and if you're watching this, you probably are, then you already know you're gonna get every available option for an answer to a question like that, because everybody's got their opinions, and everybody's got different experiences, right? Even with the same van, the same brand. Joe Blow down the street here might have a Ford Transit with the 3.5 EcoBoost, and he's got 500,000 miles on it, never done a thing but change the oil, and he'll swear by that, you know. Sally Mae down the other street may have the exact same van, same engine, same everything, and after 40,000 miles, transmission went out or turbo blew, and she'll cuss them up and down, you know, saying they're no good. And you know what? They're both right, because they both had different experiences. And it's not necessarily, although it can be, it's not necessarily because one maintained the equipment better than the other, or treated it better than the other person. You know, of course, those things make a big difference, but sometimes it's just either bad or good luck, you know. I mean, it's anything with wheels and a motor. You know, it's it can be a crapshoot, especially when you're putting over 100,000 miles a year on something, you know. So, what do you need for expediting? That is a little easier to answer. It's not even my opinion, really. I think this is fact. I always hesitate to say, you know, this is what you need or this is fact, because, you know, there's always exceptions, and people can make money out there with a donkey and a two-wheel cart, you know, if you got the hustle and the want to. But in general, buy the longest and tallest van you can afford, and that's available, because that is going to open up your options for freight in a couple of ways, in a couple of different ways. One is the obvious, that you just got more room, so you can haul bigger loads, right? The other is that on the load boards, your van is going to be listed with its dimensions, its inside dimensions. And a lot of brokers and a lot of shippers will not even consider booking a regular cargo van anymore. They all want Sprinter. They all call them Sprinters, even though a Transit or a Promaster, comes pretty close to the dimensions of a Sprinter. Not quite, but close. Certainly in height. Just the length is they're a little bit shorter than the Sprinter. But the reason they call them, they use Sprinter as a sort of a generic term is because up until just a few years ago, the Sprinter was the only tall van available in the United States. The Promaster and the Transit have both been available in Europe forever. And of course, it's not called Promaster in Europe. It's a Fiat. It's what it is. But they've both been available in Europe forever. But they just brought them to the States recently. But when the Sprinter was the only thing available here, that just kind of became a catch-all generic term for a long, tall van. So, get the longest and tallest that you can possibly afford, because you're not shooting yourself in the foot on freight. That will help you not only with being able to haul more freight, but you're going to be living in the van. And I'm here to tell you, the height, for one thing, being able to stand up in your van and walk around, during off time, or whether you're just a stretch to get dressed, whatever, oh my gosh, there's no comparison, with being in a short cargo van that you can't stand up in. I mean, you're going to be in the van, weeks at a time. So, it also makes it much more comfortable for you, and longer, because if you want to build a bunk in your van, that's going to give you more space for cargo without having to lose your bed. Personally, I just put my twin mattress up against the wall. That's just the way I prefer to do it. And then I've always got the entire cargo area available for freight. And then when I'm empty, I've got the entire cargo area for my living quarters. That's just the way I prefer it. There's a whole lot of people, I would probably say a majority even, that put a kind of a sleeper area, put a bunk behind their seats, kind of like in a semi-tractor, I'm 6 foot and tall, and I can't quite stretch out that way. And I mean, I've done it. I've built a bunk back there like that, and I could sleep on it, but I have to kind of lay catty-cornered, to be able to stretch out. But that's not really my issue. I can't explain it to you. I've tried it 3 different times to put a bunk behind my seats and live with it, and usually one trip or maybe 2, and I'm ripping that thing out and I'm putting my mattress back up against the wall, because that's just the way I personally prefer it. But back to vans. So you've basically got 3 major options, 4 if you count the Nissan. I don't really count the Nissan. I know some people have it, love it, swear by it. it's not big enough for me. I don't think it's, you know. So I'm only going to count the Sprinter, the Ford Transit, and the Ram Promaster. Those are your three major choices. Get the longest and tallest that you can, whether it's a 2500 or a 3500. I'll be honest, it's negligible. There's not hardly any difference in the vans, certainly not in the Transits. You can't tell the Transits apart, as far as I can tell, between the 2500 and the 3500. The difference on paper, and I guess in real life, is a few hundred pounds in payload capacity. So, I mean, there's that. You don't want your van to be, you don't want the gross vehicle weight rating to be 10,000 pounds or more, because that triggers a scale house visit for you in a lot of states. You'll see signs on the scale houses, vehicles over 10,000 pounds, you know, must stop. So you want to stay under 10,000 pounds gross vehicle weight rating. These manufacturers have got that figured out. You know, you got plenty of options that stay 9,000 pounds or maybe even 9,800 pounds. So there's that. 3,500 is fine as long as the gross vehicle weight rating is not 10,000 pounds or more. Let's see, the Ram Promaster, and I am not an expert. I have never owned a Ram Promaster, but I have, you know, I've done some research. The Ram Promaster only has, at least as of 2021, and as far as I know for 2022, and somebody correct me if I have missed an update or something, but to the best of my knowledge, they only offer one transmission and one engine. It's that Pentastar V6 gas engine and whatever Chrysler transmission they have. They are front wheel drive. Some people say that's a plus, some don't like it. I have spoken with a few folks that have come over from Ukraine or Russia, where it snows a lot, and they like the front wheel drive. The folks that I've talked to, I'm sure maybe there's some that don't, but they like the front wheel drive. They don't have a problem with it. So there's that. I'm not really scared, wouldn't be scared of the front wheel drive myself. The Promaster has you know, several different options in length and height. Again, long as you can go, high as you can go. The Ford Transit, again, comes in many lengths and heights. You know, I think you want the extended high roof. They've got 3 roof heights on the Transit. You can probably get by with the mid roof, but I would prefer the high roof. That's what I drive currently, is a 2020 Transit, extended high roof 2500. I've been pretty happy with it. Engines, the Transit currently offers 2 engines options. They are both 3.5 liters. The naturally aspirated used to be a 3.7, but they have changed it, and now they're both 3.5 liters. One is naturally aspirated, one has twin turbos. The twin turbo engine, you know, it'll scream, you know, 400 horsepower, you know, and the turbo, the power's all down low. I mean, they're quick. The I've got the naturally aspirated, and it's not that that's what I just wanted. That's just what was available, and I wasn't picky, to be honest. But so far, I've been pretty satisfied with it. You know, coming out of a diesel Sprinter, you know, it's certainly not as quick as my Sprinter was, but I don't really need quick. I'm driving a cargo van with, you know, a lot of times a lot of weight. I just want it to be able to climb a hill, you know, and maintain speed, and it can do that. I don't have any trouble maintaining speed. The new Fords have a 10-speed transmission, all of them, all the vans, and you know, their pickups and everything. This is just becoming kind of across the board transmission. This 10-speed. I had it in my F-150. It takes some getting used to if you've never driven one. It will feel like it's gonna hunt and peck sometimes until you kind of get used to it, and it learns your driving patterns. The top, if I remember right, I studied this when I first got my pickup, and I believe the top 3 gears, 8, 9, and 10, are all overdrive gears. 7 is the direct drive. I'm pretty certain that that's right. The naturally aspirated van will come with a 410 rear end, which made me very nervous. Before I bought this van, I took it out and drove it, got it up to highway speed, because you know, in my mind I was thinking, holy cow, I'm going to be driving 100,000 miles a year. 410 rear ends, just, you know, that's what we used to use for drag racing when we were teenagers, you know. But with those 3 overdrives, the gearing works, you know, for this little 3.5 naturally aspirated motor, you know, that it works. If I would make myself stay down to 65 miles an hour, you know, or less, I could easily get, you know, between 17 and 19 miles a gallon, depending on wind speed, hills, and what have you. Driving 72 and 75, you know, depending on where I'm at. If I'm down in Texas, you know, I'm driving 75. You know, if there's no wind, I'll still get, you know, 16 to 17. If there is a headwind and driving those speeds, boy, you can drop it down to 15 in a hurry. And that's just like throwing dollar bills out the window every mile, you know. But anyway, maybe not every mile, but you get what I'm saying. But at any rate, I'm happy with the naturally aspirated motor in the Transit. I know people that have the twin turbo EcoBoost and that are very happy with it. You know, I've heard of people having to replace turbos, but not like super quick or anything. I mean, not any major issue. I haven't heard anything that would scare me off of that motor either. Okay, boy, this is getting long-winded. If you guys are still watching this, drop me a comment below and say, hey, I'm still with you after 19 minutes. I can't imagine anybody would listen to me rattle on this long, so I feel like I'm probably just talking to myself. The Sprinter van, the last one I owned, like I said, was a 2013 model. I bought it new. The one before that was the older T1N. Put 500,000 miles on both of them. Sprinters are freaking fantastic. Driving down the road, I'm not gonna lie, the feel, to me at least, the feel of the Sprinter is heavier. It's a little bigger. It's a little more truck-like, you know. I like this Transit just fine. It does exactly what I need it to do, and it does it so far. Now I've got just about 80,000 miles on it, so you know it's still a baby. But so far, it does exactly what I need to do, and it does it cheaper than the Sprinter did. But the Sprinter, they are awesome. They are also, if you don't do your own work or have an independent mechanic or something, you know, which I had when I had my Sprinters, but it was still expensive. Not as expensive as the dealership, but it was still expensive. You know, diesels are going to be more expensive to maintain anyway, typically, and the Mercedes is just going to be more expensive because it's Mercedes, you know. I don't know if they've got the emissions system figured out. Again, not everybody had trouble with them, and it can be deleted, not legally, but it can be deleted. You know, so I'm not gonna badmouth the Sprinter other than the trouble that I had with the emissions. You know, which, like I say, it cost me a fortune. Get the longest and tallest if you go that route. I think that there are 3 engine options, unless something's changed. There used to only be 1 engine option. Once, you know, they started out with the straight 5 and the old ones, and then they switched to the V6 diesel, and that same V6 diesel is still available. It's a great motor. You know, I know people that have put 800,000-900,000 miles on them and not done nothing really but change the oil. And then Mercedes came out with a 4-cylinder version, and I haven't kept up, so I don't know if they're still offering that. As far as I know, they are. And then they came out with a gas version that they were going to sell in the United States. Again, I haven't kept up, so I don't know if they're still offering both of those options or not. I can vouch for that V6 for sure. It's a 3-liter, and man, it pulls like a little freight train, you know. Run forever if nothing goes wrong. The Sprinters are going to be a little longer. They got a 170-inch wheelbase. That's the longest in the industry, as far as I know. Height, you know, you get a tall roof. Doesn't matter which one you get. All 3 of those are going to have a tall roof. The Sprinter's shaped a little funnier in the back. They're a little bit pyramid shaped, A-frame shaped, which is neither here nor there unless you're doing this specific kind of build out or something. If you were building it for a camper, then the Promaster is pretty square, I think. The Transit's pretty square. But anyway, I don't know if any of that information was helpful to you or not, and it may not matter for a while because I don't know if anybody's got any new vans to buy. If they did, I might be getting one and see if I could put a driver on or get 2. But man, about the time I got ready to think about doing that, you couldn't find vans anymore because of the chip shortage and all of that. But anyway, Sprinter, Transit, Promaster, those are the 3 major options. Get the longest and the tallest that you can afford. Motor choices, I personally don't think it matters. I think either of the options you get in the Ford, you're going to be okay with, or at least there's nothing to be scared of that I know of. the Sprinter, that V6 option, you know, I've had experience with. I've known people that had that 4-cylinder turbo. I don't think there's any known problems with it, as far as I know. Promaster, you don't have any choice, just one choice. So, there you go. Don't know if I answered many questions, but I know I talked for a really long time, and if you hung out this long, let me know. I would be tickled to know if anybody actually hung out for 25 minutes while I rattled on, because my wife would have hit me in the head with a shoe by now. Everybody be safe. We'll talk to you later.